You are watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. info@netsoftakademy.com. www.netsoftakademy.com.
Hello and welcome to Microsoft Azure Cloud Computing Fundamentals series. In this video, we will look at what cloud computing really is and also some cloud computing models. Then we will see that why even we will select cloud computing on the first place. Why not just on-premises infrastructure? Then we will see what Microsoft Azure have to do with this, what features, what benefit it brings to the table, and so much more. So let's get started. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is cloud computing? Well, cloud computing is the delivery of computing services like servers, storage, database, and networking, and even softwares as a service over the internet. Now, in traditional computing, we rely on physical hardwares and local infrastructure on-prem. Things like on-premises database servers or compute servers or application servers and so much more. But with the cloud computing, you can access everything on demand from anywhere, as long as you have internet connection. Or you may say, as long as you have line of sight to your service. Now, there are three main types of cloud service offering, also called cloud service models. The first one is IaaS. That stands for Infrastructure as a Service. Here, you basically rent infrastructure or IT infrastructures for some time, like servers, or you may rent virtual machines, storage, networks, and so much more from a specific cloud provider. For example, Azure Virtual Machines. Here you rent a machine and you pay as per your usage. The next model is PaaS. That stands for Platform as a Service. Here, you basically get a platform so that you can develop, test, and deploy applications without managing the backend infrastructure. For example, Azure Application Services. Here, Azure keeps a check on the backend infra, and you just focus on developing your applications and deploying it. The last model is SaaS. That stands for Software as a Service. Here, a complete formulated application is delivered over the network, or you can say over the internet. And the customer, in most regard, you, just use it. And the provider who actually made this application, who runs this application and maintains the backend infra, will make sure that you get high availability. That means you get the application running all the time. The backend infrastructure headache is on the vendor side. Now, some examples are your M365 suite. That includes your Outlook, Teams, PowerPoint, Excel, Yammer, and so many more applications. Now that you know about the service types, remember those three service types? But in reality, there are many more. Just like your SaaS, PaaS, or IaaS, we have code as a service. We have function as a service. So there are multiple service types. Those three are the main one. So now let's talk about cloud deployment models, how you may deploy it in the real world. Well, the first one is public cloud. Here, the most services are delivered over the internet, and they are shared across multiple customers. For example, the whole Microsoft Azure. Here, the Azure as a platform is being used by many customers who have nothing in common with each other. They are not connected. The next model is the opposite, that is private cloud. Here, the cloud environment is dedicated to a single organization, typically hosted on premises or you can also host it on a private data center on a cloud platform. So it is true that even though for most cases Azure cloud is public cloud, but Azure also serve as a private cloud infrastructure for some specific organization like Azure China or Azure US government. They have a closed ecosystem as well. And when we talk about one organization, well, in reality, a private cloud can also be shared in multiple organizations. The point is, when a cloud infrastructure is used by a particular set of people, organization, and it is not shared with anyone else outside that organizational bubble. Now, the last one is the combination of both private plus public, that is hybrid cloud. So, as we now know, that it combines public and private clouds. It allows the data and the application to be shared between them. Hybrid cloud infrastructure is ideal for companies with some specific compliance, some latency requirements, or they might want to run some legacy application in-house, plus they also want to use some application over the cloud. So in short, when you want to keep some of your organizational capabilities private in cloud, as well as you want to use some of the cloud, that is public cloud capabilities, then you combine both and opt for hybrid cloud infrastructure. So why should we care about the cloud? And more specifically, Microsoft Azure Cloud Platform. Well, there are many reasons, but let's discuss the critical one. The first one is scalability. Here, you can scale up or down instantly based on your needs. So if you're hiring more people, you can scale up your resource very fast. You don't have to buy new equipment. You don't have to buy new laptops. On cloud, it's a matter of just clicking few buttons and scaling up your environment. Or how about you hired a lot of people but on contract, just for 1 or 2 months? In that case, it's a waste of money to buy infrastructure because you cannot resell it at good price. But in cloud, you can scale up, and when the contract is over, you can immediately scale down and only pay for the resource you use. That brings us to a second important point, that is cost efficiency. Here, you only pay for what you use, the resource you utilize. And no upfront cost is required to purchase hardware. So no hardware cost, because the hardware is maintained by the vendor, the cloud service provider. In this case, Microsoft Azure. You just rent it. Then the next benefit is global reach. Here, when you deploy an application or a service, that service or the application can be used around the world. But obviously, it makes sense if you deploy the services closer to your user. But with Azure Cloud and even with Google Cloud or AWS, this is possible. You are supposed to deploy your resources as close as possible to your actual users to keep the latency low and the performance up. And this is also possible with Microsoft Azure because Microsoft Azure do have data centers spread out all over the world, specifically in key locations where the network traffic is very high. Then let's talk about high availability. Well, the whole Microsoft Azure is designed to give you high availability because of redundant service establishment. Microsoft Azure makes sure that even the cooling system, the network path, the compute, everything is redundant to the hardware level. Let's move to the next point, that is security and compliance. Here, Azure offers enterprise-grade security and certifications for global compliance need. Now, this security is offered on both levels, that is physical as well as logical. Physical means even the data center is guarded as a very secure place. A lot of precautions are actually taken by Microsoft Azure. There are a lot of security layers someone have to cross. And very few people can actually touch the servers which are running your services. That is your physical security. And when we talk about logical security, the whole Entra ID security suite, that is your identity and access management solution, is designed around secure parameters. Every service on Azure keeps security on top priority. Let's talk about the integration with Microsoft other ecosystems. So if you're already using Microsoft 365 or on-prem Active Directory, well, Azure can integrate with all these services seamlessly. Yes, some capabilities will be limited, but for the most part, all Microsoft products work together pretty seamlessly. So these were some of the critical advantages of using cloud, specifically Microsoft Azure. So what is Azure now? Well, it is a cloud service, but let's define it properly. Microsoft Azure is Microsoft's cloud computing platform and services. It offers more than 200 services across areas like compute, storage, networking, artificial intelligence, machine learning, DevOps, database services, and so much more. Well, Azure is used by everyone, whether you are a startup or a big enterprise or even governments. Azure is being used by a lot of organizations out there. Now, Azure has data centers in over 60 plus regions. It is still growing, so you cannot be exact, but Azure always try to expand their infrastructure. Well, these regions are grouped into something called availability zones. These are physically separate locations to ensure reliability and high availability. This massive infrastructure allows Azure to deliver fast, reliable, and scalable services anywhere at any time. Now let's look at how people actually use Azure. Some use cases. The first use case will be hosting the company's website or application. Here one can use app services or virtual machines if they want to host it manually. What about running virtual desktops or the entire IT environment in the cloud? Here, one can use the service like AVD, that is Azure Virtual Desktop, which simply provide a VDI, that is Virtual Desktop Infrastructure. In simple words, you will run your desktop environment on cloud, and your employees can just connect to it and do their job. Some organizations also use Microsoft Azure for backup and disaster recovery. Specifically, if they are running some critical services and they want to make sure that there's always a backup, even in a regional disaster or a global one. Then we can use Azure services for data analysis and machine learning. What about game development, IoT solutions? How about DevOps pipelines, and so much more. So no matter what industry you are working for, Azure will likely have a solution for it. Now let's go for a quick tour of Microsoft Azure portal, where you will see all the services. All right, so if you want to log into your Microsoft Azure portal, the first thing you need is your account. So just go to the browser and type portal.azure. Now it will ask you for your credential. Well, at this step, you can click on Create One so that you can create a fresh Microsoft account. Now, when you do this, a tenant will be created for you. And in that tenant, there will be one account, that is the account you will create. So you will always start with your user principal name. You will put the password, you will add your metadata, that is, you can put your phone number, address, and everything. You just follow the prompt. Now, once you have your account, then you can log in. So let me log in. All right. And then you will put your password. Now, when you will sign in for the very first time, Microsoft Azure may ask you to register your phone number and email ID, or maybe your Microsoft Authenticator app on your phone for MFA purposes. So, for added security, now Microsoft requires you to actually register your MFA or register for MFA at least. So, if I move ahead, you will see that it will ask me to verify my identity. So a text will be sent to my phone number and I will enter it, and only then it will allow me to get in. So let me do that. All right, so we are in. This is what Azure portal looks like. Now in your case, you may see a welcome page from Azure. On the front, there will be a welcome page which will give you some tips and tricks. The next best thing you will do is you will go ahead on subscription, click on it, then click on add subscription, and then choose the subscription which will work for you. In your case, if you are doing it for the very first time, I recommend to go with free subscription. If you click on free subscription, it will ask for your credit card details because you have to add your credit card. Even if it is free, Microsoft do require a payment method to be registered. Then you will get $200 to use for 1 month to use all the features and facilities of Microsoft Azure Cloud. Then, if you don't want to use a free one, you can also select pay as you go. So these are the two subscriptions. So once you have a subscription, then you can start creating resources. But in this video, I will just show you how the portal looks like. So this will be the welcome page. Then on top, if you click on this menu button, it will open all the other services linked to Microsoft. So you have your Artificial Intelligence Foundry, where you get services to create your own AI-based environment or projects. Then you have Azure and Azure portal itself. So this is what we are in right now. Then you have your Copilot Studio, Data Explorer, Defender, which is for security purposes, DevOps, Entra ID. This will take you to Entra, that is your IAM, Identity and Access Management Solution, Fabric, GitHub, Intune, which is another service, M365 Admin Center, Power Automate, Power Platform, Preview, and Visual Studio Code. So these are all Microsoft Cloud services. Right now, we are only focusing on the fundamental of just one service and a little bit on Entra ID as well. Then if you click here, it will show you the most common services straight away. So if you start from here, resource group, app service, function app, database, and so much more. But don't assume that these are the only services. No, you will click on all services. If you click on all services, you will see all the categories. And that is really nice because all the services are laid out properly in their own respective category. So if I click on AI and machine learning, I will see all the services around it. If I click on analytics, so I will see all the services for analysis, let's say. If I click on compute, chances are that you will find your virtual machine in this category. Virtual machine is the compute unit. Or you can also find your containers, virtual machine scale set. All the services related to compute. As you can see, that services actually include images, your host groups image where you put your golden image, then proximity placement groups, SSH keys for your Linux machines, scale set, application definitions, compute infrastructure, compute fleet, availability sets, AVD, that is your VDI environment, and so much more. Here's your virtual machine as well. Then you have containers to see all the containerization services, that is Kubernetes. Then you have database, DevOps, general, and so on. So where will you find, let's say, Entra ID? Well, it is an identity. All the services related to managing identity. Then you have IoT. Then you also have monitoring. Mixed reality is a little bit lacking right now, but you get the point. Migration for all your migration needs. All right, so these are all the services. Let's go back. Now on top, you will see the search bar. Here you can search for the service you want to work in straight away. So let's say you want to work with virtual machine skill set. So VMSS. Here you go. Then you have Copilot to help you. So when you click on it, on the right-hand side, an instance of the Copilot will open. Here you can ask questions and AI will help you to at least scope down to the actual project you are interested in. So I can say, how to create a virtual machine, how to run VM. So it will think, and give you the response. All right, so here is the answer. And it definitely assumed that I was not able to find any virtual machine you want to run. Of course, I asked like how to run VM. So it thought that there is a VM and I want to learn how to initiate it or run it. But it gave me some suggestion. How do I create a new virtual machine in Azure? So let's do that. All right, so it gave me the suggestion that to create virtual machine in a flexible scale set using CLI, if I click on deploy workload, again, it will take me here and I can put my information here and create my virtual machine. Remember, you will not get the exact output you want. I mean, it's just the AI to help you or to guide you. So you still need some experience and skills. Then you have your Cloud Shell here, notification bell icon, where you can find all the notification. If you cleared up the notification, don't worry, you can go to more events in the activity log and see past notification, which you cleared. Then you have your settings. Remember, the setting is not for the services. This is for this portal, where you can select the tenant you are working in, or you can select the subscription you are using. You can change appearance, whether you want a flyout layout or docked layout. Flyout means it will dynamically come from the left side. Docked means it will stay there. Then you want to see the collapsed layout, where you have to expand all the menus. Or you want to see the expanded layout, where all the menus are expanded. So you see all the options. You don't have to drop it down. Then you have the theme, automatic, light, dark, and the startup page. Do you want to start from home page or dashboard? What language and region you want to select, your information, and then signing out plus notification. I cannot show you my information here. Then you have the feedback. Let's say if you have anything or any suggestion you want to post to Microsoft, well, you can send your feedback here. And then you have your support and troubleshooting. Let's say you are having some issues and you want to create a ticket, and then Microsoft will get back to you and Microsoft can help you. Remember, you will not get priority calls here. You're not paying for the service. Then here you sign out, sign in, view your account, and if you want to sign in with different account, you can do it from here. And the last thing, if you click back to the menu, you go to home page. This is your home page we are in, but there is something called dashboard as well. This is also pretty nice. Here you can create dashboard and you can put all the resources you want to keep a check on in just single pane, so that every morning when you log into your Azure, you see all your users, your machines are running or not, all the important data you want to monitor can be shown here. So this is your dashboard, and you can create your own layout. For example, I want to see the inventory information. These are some examples of dashboards. Perfect. So this was your Azure portal, and I actually encourage you that you should create your account and at least navigate through the Azure portal. And that wraps up this video. Here we understood that cloud computing lets you rent and use computing services over the internet. Microsoft Azure specifically provides a powerful cloud platform with global infrastructure and global reach. We also saw that it supports everything from a simple web application deployment to the enterprise level scale. Now, in next video, we will explore some of the core Azure services like compute, storage, and networking, so you can understand how these building blocks work together. Well, if this video helped you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the rest of the series. Till next video, take care, and I will see you soon.
Thank you for watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. info@netsoftacademy.com. www.netsoftacademy.com.